Well, good evening, my YouTube friends. It's Margaret here from M.E.s Orchids, and the title is Let's Set the Cat Amongst the Pigeons. Now, this will probably prompt some comments, but I just wanted to throw it into the air and provoke some reaction. Now, this here is bark, okay? There's large bark, and you can see the orchid bark. I think that stands out without any problem. That's the dark coloured bark. This is Melrose bark, this is. There's nothing wrong with it, it's bark. And I've got a bag full here. And all mixed in together. There we are, you see. Let's have a look at that piece. I'm trying to get it to dry out. And can you see the tiny bits of, I'm not sure what they are, but it could be fertiliser. And there you see, it's all nice and clean. Nothing wrong with that. And this is the other. There's some rosestone in there, lava rock, and you'll see the odd hydrogen ball. So what have all these three got in common? Well, all these three have got in common is reusability. Now, as you know, I'm retired, and it's not that I can't afford to buy orchid bark or the Melrose bark. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a hobby I enjoy, and the only expense I do lay out is the lava rock, because that actually comes from America, via Mr. Emerson, of course. But the orchid bark is quite expensive, and but the Melrose bark isn't. That's fairly cheap. But I'm thinking, well, I mean, I watch Insert throw bark away, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm sure we could reuse this bark, because I mean, mine, you know, when I've come to repot something, if I've got bark in it, there's nothing wrong with the bark. I mean, that recent repot of a fragmipedium, from that large pot down to a small one, Ed just said he thought that was the fertiliser on the bark. He didn't think there was anything wrong with the potting medium. So that got me to think, well, are we just throwing away good bark when there's no need? So what I've done is I've boiled all this bark. And I mean, this is still here. I still, every day, it's in the garage, and I'll just go and run my hand through it. It's quite dry actually, but as it stands at the moment, I haven't put it inside this bag. Now let's have a look at that piece. See, that's a bit soft. See, that's neither use nor ornament. So, I'll throw that out. But what I intend to do is, when this is completely dried, and it's not far off completely dried, I'll put it in there and I'll mark it as reused bark. And if need be, I shall just reuse it again, but realise that, of course, it may only last a few months. But then, at least, I'm not just throwing all this bark outside into the garden. And of course, the lava rock. Well, the lava rock is inorganic, and the growstones and the hydrogen balls. So I just boil them. You'll see little bits of, little bits of sphagnum moss that I've probably missed. But that's fine. It's inorganic media. This will last for donkey's years. I've no problem with that. So it's either me being, there's a piece of cork bark there. Throwing that in the pot. It's either me being thrifty, or some might say tight, or I'm using my noddle and reusing the bark. Because after all, when the bark comes to us, there are a lot of people who actually soak the bark first. Well, what I've done is soak the bark and sterilised it. Now, I do watch some videos from people abroad, Far East and places like that, and some of these countries haven't access to sphagnum moss and bark like we have, and maybe, they haven't got the income to purchase new bark, and they often reuse it. And that's what made me think maybe I should start and consider perhaps reusing some of this bark. Anyway, thought-provoking. Comments, please leave below. So from me to you, take care. Bye-bye now.